Han Sen.
Jin Raiji escaped death and was as pale as a sheet of paper. Seeing Han Sen, who had knocked the turtle down with the sledgehammer, he was suddenly thrilled. "Don't stay here. Run." Han Sen watched the turtle solemnly. Although the head of the turtle was knocked down, Han Sen did not feel it was broken. It felt like smashing on rubber. As he expected, the turtle raised its head and shook it around, its emerald-like eyes fixed on Han Sen. Han Sen did not hesitate and smashed at the turtle again. Using heresy mantra, his heart was beating like thunder, and his blood and chi were circulating at a tremendous speed, making his veins stand out. The sledgehammer was so heavy that even Lu Mingda could only slowly brandish it a dozen times. With Lu Mingda's speed, it was impossible for him to ever hit the turtle. Han Sen was stronger than Lu Mingda to begin with, but even he could not hit the turtle relying on just his strength. Only with the heresy mantra and overload, Han Sen managed to hit the turtle's head when it was not paying attention. Although Han Sen's second strike was still under dual enhancement, the turtle quickly withdrew its head and avoided the sledgehammer. The moment it drew back its head, the turtle stepped hard on the ground and threw itself at Han Sen like a cannonball. Han Sen waved his arm backward and knocked the sledgehammer on the turtle shell, sending the turtle back to the ground. However, the turtle quickly bit the handle of the sledgehammer and broke it in half. All Han Sen had left in his hand now was a part of the handle. He hastily ran to the side, while the turtle was pissed off by Han Sen and decided to throw itself again at him. "Hang in there. We're here to help." Jin Raiji summoned another weapon and was ready to help Han Sen. Han Sen felt almost depressed. "What the heck are you doing staying here? Are you trying to get killed by the turtle? This is a super creature, and none of you would be alive if you stay. Help my ass. Run. I'll be right after you," Han Sen exclaimed at Jin Raiji. Jin Raiji paused and quickly ran away with the others, looking back at Han Sen while running. Han Sen quickly dodged the turtle and rolled toward the sledgehammer with its handle broken. Although the handle was broken, there was still a part of it attached to the hammer. Han Sen grabbed the sledgehammer and smashed at the turtle again. The three united with Sun Minghua and then stopped, watching Han Sen fighting the turtle alone. The sledgehammer was like a toy in Han Sen's hand, moving as fast as lightning bolts. The three of them were all dumbstruck. They knew very well how heavy the hammer was. Even Lu Mingda would be tired out after a dozen strikes, and he could never use it as well as Han Sen did. "His strength!" exclaimed Lu Mingda with his mouth widely open. "Is Han Sen going to be okay?" Sun Minghua looked at Han Sen with a worried look. If it were not for Han Sen, they would have all died. "Let's wait and see. If he is in danger, we'll go back for him," said Jin Raiji, gritting his teeth. He started to regret not listening to Han Sen, or otherwise they would never have been trapped here. "Wait a second. Maybe Han Sen has his plans." Jin Shili stopped Jin Raiji. "It's all me. If it were not for me, the turtle would not have noticed us. I will apologize to Han Sen, and I will fight the turtle myself. I will not let him sacrifice himself for us," said Lu Mingda with his face flushed. "What's the point in staying these? We should focus on helping Han Sen get out of there," exclaimed Jin Shioli. How could they possibly think of anything? The level of the turtle was beyond their wildest imagination. There was no solution whatsoever. With the dual enhancement, Han Sen found he was still slower than the turtle even when he was using Sparticle. However, to Han Sen's surprise, his practice was not a waste. There was no need for him to be faster than the turtle. What was most helpful to Han Sen at this point was the kiting skills he learned from Queen. Han Sen had always been good at prejudgment. Using kiting skills, he could calculate when the turtle would strike in order to avoid its bite. Han Sen was executing his strategy with each step, luring the turtle to bite where he had designed. This way, it was much easier for Han Sen to dodge its attacks. Although Han Sen was not as fast as the turtle, he could still run away from its attacks. It was like running from the bullets. There were all kinds of scenes depicting someone avoiding bullets in the movie. However, in reality, it could never be done. When the trigger was pulled, no matter how fast one was, it was simply impossible to dodge the bullet. In order to dodge the bullet, the only way was to prejudge when the opponent would shoot and avoid the trajectory beforehand. Han Sen was doing exactly that, making the turtle bite somewhere, and moving away from that spot ahead of time. The kiting skills made something impossible possible. Han Sen, who was slower than the turtle, was able to fight it. However, the kiting skills were demanding on one's brain power. Under the burden of overload, Han Sen could not sustain very long. Han Sen also had the Fairy Queen Bee Soul to thank. The Fairy Queen made the turtle's movement much slower in his eyes, which helped him to better his strategy. However, it was still almost impossible for him to kill the turtle. Han Sen had already been fighting at his limits. He had hit the turtle with the sledgehammer a few times, but such frightening force did not even cause much damage to the weakest part of the turtle's body. Strength. I need more strength.
Han Sen shouted inwardly.
However, he felt quite content that he was able to fight the turtle for this long. Avoiding the turtle bite one more time, Han Sen had come to a cliff, from which he jumped without hesitation to avoid the turtle's attacks and the gaze of his company. After falling from the cliff, Han Sen summoned his wings and flew away. The turtle looked down the cliff and turned around. It obviously had no intention to chase Han Sen. When Han Sen joined the rest of the group, everybody was overjoyed to see him. Han Sen, we are alive thanks to you. I am so sorry that I almost got you killed, said the professor, feeling guilty. It's not your fault, Professor. This is all on me. Han Sen, you can punish me as you like. I owe everything to you, Lu Mingda said with his face flushed. Jin Raiji wanted to add something but was interrupted by Han Sen. We were all just trying to protect Professor Sunday. You just did not know how scary the turtle was. It's okay. Rest assured, Han Senator, you have saved all of our lives. If you ever need anything, we will be here for you, said Jin Raiji seriously. After some discussion, the group decided to return to Glory Shelter for maintenance before they came back for the turtle. Han Sen took the opportunity to go back to Blackhawk. He quickly logged in Gladiator, opened his friend list, and found Queen online. Han Sen was overjoyed and hastily sent her an invite. The kiting skills he learned from Queen were still faulty. There were many things that he failed to understand. If he could actually learn the kiting skills from Queen, maybe he could fight the turtle without relying on speed. Therefore, Han Sen wished to fight her another time and observe her kiting skills. However, Han Sen did not know whether Queen would agree to fight him. After all, the two of them were too far apart in strength. If Queen were there, she would have killed the turtle easily. Han Sen estimated that a super creature should have a fitness level around 40, while the strongest humans in First God Sanctuary could only reach 20 in some aspects. Most good men usually had an average fitness index of 15. Even those who had maxed out on all 4 types of Geno points in First God Sanctuary only had a fitness index of 30, which was still not enough for one to kill a super creature. However, an evolver with a fitness level beyond 100 like Queen would be able to kill a super creature easily. An evolver would not be able to return to First God Sanctuary unless the evolver had just evolved. Even for Queen, when she was an unevolved person or had just become an evolver, she would not have been able to fight the turtle. Han Sen was not sure whether Queen would agree to fight him, but he wanted it so much. One more round. Just one more round. Seeing Han Sen's invite, Queen was dazed. Her setting was not to accept invites from strangers, and she had never had a friend before, so she had never received an invite. Seeing the invite was from a soldier on warship, Queen hesitated and clicked yes. Han Sen was exhilarated to see Queen and her amazing kiting skills again. After the countdown was over, Han Sen immediately ran toward her. He did not dare to wait for her attacks. Their fitness levels were so different that he would be killed immediately. After all, his fitness index was only 30, while hers was probably 100. Queen only dodged the punch like last time and did not fight back. Feeling excited, Han Sen threw his other fist at her and made a step. Queen was surprised. Han Sen's punch and step were not as simple as they appeared to be. Although he was not that fast, in Queen's eyes, his moves were unexpected. Han Sen's step was almost like her kiting skills, making it impossible for her to force Han Sen into a corner. Is he copying me? Queen's gaze fell upon Han Senator. She continued to observe. Very soon, Queen was certain that Han Sen was mimicking her kiting skills. Although there were many errors and defects in his movements, it was amazing that he could achieve this level in such a short amount of time. Queen did not rush to end the combat. She wanted to see how well Han Sen could do. Kiting skills were not for anybody. It was easy to learn, but hard to become a master at. It was like playing Go. Whoever knew the rules could play, but it was extremely difficult to excel at Go. Queen was good at kiting skills. At least among the opponents that she had met, no one could match her level. Han Sen's performance more or less surprised her. He was a bit green and was still making mistakes, but in her eyes, he had his own understanding of the skills. Also, Han Sen was sensitive about what she wanted to do. These proved that Han Sen was talented in this matter. After testing Han Sen's level, Queen stopped thinking about it. Being talented was one thing, but whether he could go far was another. Queen did not say anything but continued to dodge Han Sen's attacks. However, Han Sen suddenly felt much more pressured. It became more and more difficult for him to determine where Queen was going. They were like two players at a Go game. Han Sen was the weaker player, and his every step was in Queen's calculation. There was no way he could fight back. Very soon, Han Sen was pushed to the corner like last time.
Bang!
With another kick, Han Sen was eliminated. When he returned to the game, Queen had already gone offline. However, Han Sen did not feel upset, but more excited than ever. He was not sure if Queen was intentionally teaching him. Her last few steps were indicating the weaknesses in his kiting skills, which was why he felt terrible toward the end. This was not a bad thing for Han Sen, but a good thing. Queen was like a teacher, helping him find his mistakes. Whether she was intentional or not, Han Sen was grateful to Queen. Kiting skills were crucial for him to hunt super creatures. And kiting skills like this could not be practiced through tutorials like Hyper Geno Arts. Han Sen had gained an incredible asset through fighting Queen. After downloading the video of their combat, Han Sen left Gladiator and went to the warehouse of Heavy Warframe Society. While watching the video, he pondered what he could do to refine his kiting skills. Indeed, Queen was trying to indicate Han Sen's mistakes to him in the last few steps. There were not many people were interested in practicing kiting skills. Since Han Sen was interested, she was willing to give him some tips. However, what she did casually meant a great deal to Han Sen and added to his chance at killing a super creature. If I could use kiting skills to avoid the turtle's attacks, I will never be defeated. This way, I will find a chance to kill it sooner or later. Han Sen became more excited. After watching the video of his combat against Queen, Han Sen had gained a lot. The last few steps Queen made pointed out Han Sen's weaknesses. After watching the video repeatedly, Han Sen enjoyed correcting himself little by little. Many people would give up once they found they had made mistakes, but Han Sen was willing to correct himself. Life was full of mistakes, and it was impossible for one to go back and live again. What Han Sen cared more about was how he could avoid the same mistakes in the future. The kiting skills were not just physical movements. Thinking and acting were equally important in order to perfect the skills. Through trial and error, Han Sen had refined his skills again and again. In a combat, everything could happen. What Han Sen learned from Queen was the basic rules. With these rules, he could react faster under different situations in a combat. No matter how powerful his brain was, it was impossible for him to think too much when fighting. He had to cultivate his muscle memory through tons of practice. It was like in order to solve a math problem, one had to learn all kinds of equations before applying them in calculation. Queen had told Han Sen some equations he did not know before. What he was trying to do was to integrate these equations into his muscle memory so that he could react in the best way during a real combat. It was not hard to think one or two steps ahead. The difficulty was to know what the possibilities were after dozens of steps the moment he made the first step. It was hard to achieve that, and in fact, few could do it, which was why in the entire Ares Martial Hall, Queen was the one and only. Han Sen did not sleep all night. The next morning when he woke up, his eyes were bloodshot as he had consumed too much of his brain power. I cannot keep going like this. The possibilities in kiting skills were endless like Go. No matter how talented I am, it is impossible for me to know all the strategies. If I do not enhance my strategic thinking, it is pointless to learn different tactics. Han Sen knew that he got himself into a dead-end alley, closed the video, cleaned his face, and went to sleep. He did not even know how long he had slept. Until his comlink rang, Han Sen yawned, stretched, and got up. Jin Raiji asked Han Sen to return to God's sanctuary as everyone was prepared to observe the turtle again.
Han Sen agreed.
After eating at the cafeteria, he entered Glory Shelter. Lu Mingda's hands had not recovered, so only Jin Raiji, Jin Xiuli, Sun Minghua, and Han Sen were going to the Copper Mountains. However, when the four of them reached the same spot, the turtle was no longer there. Sun Minghua collected some fragments of the vines that the turtle fed on last time. Because the turtle had eaten up all the vines, there were only some crumbs left. The group continued to search the mountains. Before they went far, they saw a red creature standing on a mountain in the opposite direction, looking around. The creature was 6 feet tall, looking like it was made of copper. It had scorpion's upper body, snake's tail, and 6 sickle-like claws. Copper demon. Jin Raiji was excited when he spotted the creature. Han Sen was also exhilarated. Before he came to Copper Mountains, he had done some research about the region. In Copper Mountains, the most famous creature was the copper demon. The reason it was well known was that even the weakest copper demons were mutant creatures. Sometimes, even sacred blood copper demons could be spotted. The beast soul of a copper demon was the shape-shifting type, which was rare. Even a mutant copper demon beast soul could greatly enhance one's speed and strength. The sacred blood copper demon beast soul even had a pair of ladybug wings and allowed one to fly when shape-shifting. A beast soul that had dual functions of both shape-shifting and flying was obviously rare and valuable. Even a mutant copper demon without flying function was so expensive that many less wealthy people would kill for an opportunity to hunt for it. However, copper demons were only spotted in Copper Mountains. Since Copper Mountains were close to Glory Shelter, most copper demons have been slaughtered already. In recent years, only a few copper demons were spotted, which must have come from a nest. They had all heard about copper demons, but they had never seen one. This unexpected finding cheered them up. "Let's go and try our luck. Maybe there is a chance for us to gain the beast soul," said Jin Xiuli excitedly. No one had any objections. It was rare that they had a chance to see such a famous creature. Even if it was just a mutant one without wings, they could find their luck. When the four of them went up the mountain, the thing they saw made them gasp. Where the copper demon was standing was a stone platform, behind which was a cave. At this point, many copper demons were creeping out of the cave, swaying their snake tails, their claws making sounds of metal. Among them, one was especially tall and had a deeper color than others. It also had red metal wings. The copper demon they saw in the beginning had already spotted the group of people and started to hiss. Shortly, dozens of copper demons flooded from the cave. It seemed that there were still more in the cave. The first sacred blood copper demon flapped its wings and dived at the group of people like a bomber. "Damn it! Cover the professor." Jin Raiji became pale and summoned a beast soul knife, trying to block the sacred blood creature's attack. Han Sen, however, was overjoyed. He was just wondering where to find a sacred blood creature, and one threw itself at them. What a pie in the sky! Han Sen directly summoned his horn bow and mutant black stinger arrow and made a shot at the sacred blood copper demon. Jin Raiji was about to fight the sacred blood creature with all he got, but suddenly saw a black arrow flying toward the creature's eyes. The sacred blood copper demon reacted fast. It suddenly clasped its 6 blade-like claws and blocked the black arrow. However, as its claws touched the arrow, the black stinger arrow suddenly started to spin like a drill head, bouncing off the creature's claws. The arrow had touched the copper demon's eye and penetrated its head immediately. Thump! The sacred blood copper demon, which looked so powerful, suddenly fell from the sky and died. Sacred blood creature copper demon killed.
No beast soul gun.
Drink its blood to gain 0 to 10 sacred geno points randomly. Hearing the voice, Han Sen lamented that he did not gain a beast soul from this perfect sacred blood creature. Everything was just fate. Jin Xiuli and Jin Raiji were dumbstruck. Shooting the sacred blood copper demon dead with one arrow, that was unbelievable. Since the sacred blood copper demon was killed, the mutant copper demons quickly ran toward the cave. The group of people chased after them. However, after they killed several slow mutant copper demons, they could no longer find the rest of them. The cave was deep and the paths inside were crisscrossed, so the group did not follow them, but chose to take care of the dead bodies first. The copper demons' bodies were as tough as metal. There was no meat to eat. All that was edible was some blood inside their body. Han Sen carefully let the purple blood out and poured it into a bottle. Such a large, sacred blood copper demon only had a bottle of blood. Since Han Sen took care of the sacred blood copper demon alone, he did not need to share it with anyone. Han Sen drank the blood in one breath and heard the voice telling him he had gained 3 sacred Geno points. It was already quite something. After all, the most part of the copper demon's body was not edible, and Han Sen was glad that the blood alone gave him 3 sacred Geno points. Han Sen now had 83 sacred Geno points, and he was not far from maxing out. These creatures are so rare. How about we go inside the cave and kill the rest of the mutant ones? Maybe there is a chance to get their beast souls, suggested Jean Chiuli excitedly after they processed the bodies. Han Sen had not objections. Even a mutant shape-shifting beast soul was extremely popular. Han Sen did not mind earning some money. Jean Raiji asked the professor's opinion, and Sun Minghua agreed to it. In addition, there might be different plants or fungus inside the cave, which Sun Minghua was interested in. The 4 of them entered the cave. Although there were many tunnels inside the cave, they were all wide enough for them to walk freely. They did not see anything on the way, not even the copper demons. The group kept searching but did not find any. The space became larger as they went. After walking for 2 hours, they suddenly entered a huge opening. An underground river 200 feet wide were running through the cave. The torrents were rapid, but for some reason, there was hardly any noise and the water even seemed calm. With the light of the torch, the group saw the copper demons on the other side of the river, creeping deeper into the cave. Shall we keep chasing?
Jinri asked Han Sen.
Han Sen checked the dark underground river and frowned. He still remembered the terrible experience he had last time he was in an underground river. The 2 obsidian dragons almost killed him. The cave was so dark that the light of the torch could not help them see inside the water. Instead, the reflection of the light almost blinded them. Han Sen was scared that some aquatic sacred blood creatures like the obsidian dragons might suddenly appear here. No matter how strong he was, he would not be the creature's match underwater. Do you have wings? If we were to chase them, we should probably fly across the river, Han Sen pondered and said. He did not really want to step into the water. Jin Raiji smiled bitterly and said, We do have wings, but one was mutant and the other was primitive. That is problematic. I only have 1 pair of primitive wings as well. Han Sen did not mention his sacred blood wings. He did not want anyone to see the purple-feathered dragon wings if he did not have to. All right, I will use the mutant wings to carry the professor over. San and Chioli, you can fly with your own wings, said Jin Raiji. Han Sen shook his head and said, Let me fly over first and try. If there is no danger, you can go. Han Sen had a spooky feeling about the river, but he did not see anything. Since they were at this point already, he could not tell everyone to go back. In addition, Sun Minghua had discovered some interesting plants on the way here and seemed to be very interested in exploring the cave. Han Sen summoned his black-feathered beast wings and flew across the river about 15 feet from the ground. The primitive wings could not carry him high or fast, and that was already as high as he could go. Han Sen stared at the dark underground river while flying so that he could react in time if anything were to happen. Standing on the bank, the rest of the group watched Han Sen fly nervously. Darkness and water naturally brought fear to humans. When Han Sen reached the middle of the river, he suddenly felt something was odd in the river. A chill went down his spine. Boom! With a huge splash in the water, a giant creature sprang out of the river with its mouth wide open, trying to swallow Han Sen as a whole. *T. I knew something was wrong. Han Sen stared into the creature's mouth. From the underground river emerged a head that was somewhat like an alligator's. With its mouth wide open, it looked like the monster could easily swallow an entire cow, let alone a human. There were thousands of teeth in its mouth, which looked like a meat grinder. Even a body made of steel would be minced instantaneously. Han Sen was not sure what the status of this creature was, so he dared not fight it head-on. If it was a super creature, Han Sen would probably get himself killed. Without saying anything, Han Sen flapped his wings and shifted his body to the side. Pushing on the tip of the creature's mouth, Han Sen returned to the bank. The creature roared and followed Han Senator as its entire body came out of the underground river. Everyone gasped. The creature's head looked like a crocodile's, while its body was like a centipede without feet. With its whole body shaking, the creature was incredibly fast. Han Sen shot an arrow backward. The creature suddenly closed its mouth and crushed the arrow with his teeth. Han Sen thought with terror, "Fortunately, I did not use a beast soul arrow. Otherwise, my only mutant beast soul arrow would be destroyed." Run! Han Sen summoned the tornado wolf, shooting at the creature riding on his mount. Although Han Sen did not know whether it was a sacred blood creature or a super creature, it would be unlikely for him to hurt a creature with a body 300 feet long even with the three-blade harpoon. In addition, with such a gigantic body, this creature must be strong as well. If Han Sen was hit by its tail, he would probably be severely hurt. In a tight space, it would not be wise to fight such a creature. The three protected Sun Minghua and rushed out. However, the monster was so fast that none of their mounts could run faster than it. The monster was at their heels in a second. "Go in here. It is too narrow for the creature to enter." Han Sen pointed at a hole and said. Seeing the creature smashing a rock more than 7 feet tall, Jin Raiji and Jin Shili quickly took back the mounts and entered the hole along with Sun Minghua. The moment they were in the hole, the creature immediately threw itself at them. However, its head was much bigger than the entrance. It was as if the creature could not feel pain. It repeatedly hit the entrance with its head, making it bigger and bigger. "Quick!" Jin Raiji exclaimed, in the group went deep inside the hole since they had no other option. The hole led to a tunnel. After they had walked for about a mile, they saw an opening and was again in a big cave. There were paths both to the left and right. Jin Raiji looked both ways, but could not tell which way would lead to the exit. He then asked Sun Minghua, "Professor, do you know which way we should go?" Sun Minghua walked to the side and pinched some plants that looked like moss growing on the cave wall. He observed it and said, "We should probably go left, since it seems that air was more likely to come from the left." "Let's go left then." Jin Raiji trusted Sun Minghua in this respect. Previously, when he was covering Sun Minghua, the professor explained these things to him, but Jin did not quite understand. They could hear thumping behind them. Obviously, the creature did not give up and was still hitting the entrance. There was no way they could return the way they came from. Han Sen followed the rest. He was not really worried. Even if there was a super creature, he could always manage to run away even if he could not beat it. Very few creatures could threaten his life in First God's Sanctuary. The professor kept telling them which direction to go by observing the moss. After they had walked in the cave for half a day, they were completely lost. When they were in a large opening again, Han Sen saw that the underground river had become a waterfall, running down the cave wall into a pool. Next to the pool, a black turtle as large as a car was drinking. "It is that turtle. What is it doing here?" Sun Minghua gasped in excitement. "Lower your voice." Jin Raiji was startled and quickly stopped Sun Minghua. Luckily, the waterfall was loud and the turtle was very close to it, so it did not hear Sun Minghua's voice. The group of people stepped back before they started to discuss. "Professor, do you think there is another way to go?" Jin Raiji asked. He pondered and said, "According to how the moss grows, the air should come from this giant cave." Jin Raiji smiled bitterly and asked Han Sen, "What do you think, Sen?" Han Sen hesitated and said, "It is very likely that the turtle had come here to eat. After eating, it should be going away. If we follow it closely, we might be able to get out of here." "True. Why did I fail to see that?" Sun Minghua said gladly. "This way, we can observe the turtle and find a way out in the same time." "Great idea, Han Sen." Jin Raiji and Jin Shili did not have other ideas. The four decided to follow the turtle. They did not dare to approach the turtle, but observed it from afar. Although it was dark in the cave, the red patterns on the turtle shell were glowing in the dark like lava. The group did not need anything else to see the turtle. After the turtle had finished drinking, it slowly waddled to the cave next to it. The four exchanged a look and followed the turtle from afar. With the glowing patterns on the turtle, they would never lose sight of it. Han Sen stared down the cliff and was shocked. So were Jin Raiji, Jin Shuli and Sun Minghua. They had followed the turtle for 2 days, which had gone deeper and deeper. They felt something must be wrong. They were already on the cliff. Under the cliff was a gushing lava pool, and the turtle crawled into the pool as if it were water. The group did not see the turtle emerging again. Was it killed by the heat from the lava? Jin Raiji guessed. Although creatures were not as smart as people, I have never seen a suicidal one. Jin Shili shook his head and said. Sun Minghua suddenly said excitedly, I know. What do you know, Professor?
asked Han Sen.
You should remember I've told you that the creatures normally eat plants in order to give birth. After leaving the ocean, the turtle had consumed lots of plants in Copper Mountains. Maybe its goal was to give birth here, said Sun Minghua in excitement. Giving birth? Here? Jin Shuli pointed at the lava pool incredulously. Although lava is fatal to humans, maybe it is not to the creatures. Did you notice the red patterns on the turtle's back? They look like lava. Maybe the turtle was born here in the lava. You know, some turtles in our world also give birth in the sand despite that they live in the ocean, explained the professor. Han Sen watched the lava pool as he listened to the professor. He thought the professor's explanation made a lot of sense. The behaviors of the turtle was much like the golden growler. Maybe it was indeed giving birth here. However, if it was really like the golden growler, then it would die after spitting out its life essence. No matter how powerful Han Sen was, it was impossible for him to jump into the lava for the life essence. It seems we have to find another exit, said Jin Raiji with his brows knitted. Obviously, there was no other exit. Sun Minghua pondered and said, we did not run into any danger on the way here. It must not be difficult if we wanted to go out. Let's stay and watch. Maybe the turtle will return to the ocean after giving birth. Han Sen was glad he said that. If they left like this, he would be upset that he gave up on hunting a super creature when it was at its most vulnerable moment. At least, Han Sen had to make sure that the turtle would not appear again before he gave up. Jin Raiji and Jin Shili also agreed. They did not see any creature on the way here, so it would not be too risky to go back where they came from. In addition, they had brought enough supplies to last a month. When the group were still discussing, they suddenly stopped as they heard an odd noise. They looked to the direction of the noise and saw a giant creature emerging from a cave below them, breaking stones as it went. It turned out to be the creature that they saw from the underground river. The group were all frightened. They did not even dare to breathe. Very soon, they found out that the creature did not come for them, but went toward the lava pool under the cliff. No way. Is that creature also born from the lava pool? Han Sen said to himself. He was so curious that he looked down from the cliff. Jin Raiji, Jin Shuli, and Sun Minghua all let out a sigh of relief. Like Han Sen, they were also curious and wanted to see what the creature was up to. In a minute, the creature made it to the side of the lava pool, but it did not enter as the group had imagined. Circling around the lava, the creature then crawled toward the stone wall next to the pool. The group felt weird. The stone wall had nothing on it, and they wondered what the creature was trying to do. As they were wondering, the creature suddenly threw itself hard at the wall as if it was agitated.
Bang!
The rocks fell under the impact. However, the stone wall was still intact. The creature hit the wall again and again in madness, and the cracks were growing on the wall, while the creature itself was also injured and covered in blood. However, it did not stop ramming against the wall, as if the wall had killed its parents. Jin Shili was dumbstruck and said, "This creature must be mad. It must be committing suicide." Sun Minghua did not speak. He was also puzzled and did not understand what the creature was doing. Although Han Sen could not tell what the creature was doing either, he was overjoyed. Originally, he was concerned that the creature was too big, and he did not have an appropriate weapon to kill it. Now the creature was killing itself. When it was near death, it would be great if Han Sen could take advantage of the opportunity and kill it. Judging from how strong it was, maybe it was really a super creature. The four of them lay on their stomach and looked down the cliff. Maybe the turtle went into the lava to give birth, but it was impossible that this creature was knocking its head on the wall to give birth as well. No matter how they thought about it, there was not a plausible explanation. What is it trying to do? Han Sen stared at the creature ramming itself into the stone wall. From the dim light from the lava, He could see clearly the creature's movements. The stone wall was cracked by the creature, and it was bleeding heavily, its blood coloring the stone red.
Suddenly, Han Sen's pupils contracted.
Han Sen gazed at the cracked stone wall. Initially, he thought the wall was red because of the creature was bleeding. However, with a closer look, it was more than the creature's blood. There seemed to be liquid infiltrating through the cracks from the other side. Under the glow of the lava, the liquid also seemed to be red. However, Han Sen could tell that it was not blood, but more like water. Water! Han Sen suddenly understood what the creature was going for. Behind the stone wall, there was very likely a branch of the underground river. The creature was trying to break the stone wall in order to feed water into the lava pool. Damn it! This creature is treacherous. It is trying to lead the water into the lava.
Han Sen tweaked.
In the Alliance, when water met heat of the lava, one possibility was that the water would evaporate. However, if there were enough water, the lava would be turned into a piece of rock. Even if the turtle could survive in the lava, it didn't mean that it could survive in the rock. If the turtle was sealed in the rock, Han Sen did not know if it was still feasible for him to obtain the turtle's life essence. Put on gas masks, Han Sen exclaimed at the rest and quickly slapped a mask on himself. Although Sun Minghua, Jin Raiji, and Jian Mingli did not understand why Han Sen was asking, they had grown enough trust in Han Sen recently, so they simply followed his instruction. Shortly after they put on the masks, they suddenly heard cracking and spluttering. Water started to come out of the stone wall that was more and more damaged by the creature, flooding into the lava and giving rise to pungent gray smoke. Get back! Don't get yourselves burned by the steam. Han Sen did not dare to stay and watch, pulling the professor back with him.
Bang!
When the four of them stepped back, they heard a loud noise of stones crashing and water falling. Then there was a sizzling sound. With the rising of gray smoke, the entire cave became extremely hot that it was almost unbearable. The group quickly ran back. Fortunately, the gray smoke did not expand very fast. It took some time for the smoke to rise to the cliff. When they reached a small cave far from the cliff, they were covered in gray dust. Each of them looked like a statue coming out of storage. Luckily, they were all in beast soul armor and gas masks, so they were not hurt at all. After waiting for a long while in the small cave, the gray smoke gradually dispersed and the air started to cool down. All they could hear at this point was the water flowing. I will go have a look. Han Sen did not want to let go. He had prepared so long to kill the turtle and would hate to see it killed in the lava. Running to the cliff again, Han Sen looked down. Although there was still some thin smoke left, he could see clearly with the light penetrating from the stone wall broken by the giant creature. There was not a single spark in the lava pool. Under the cliff was a newly formulated lake. The water came from the underground lake that was originally behind the stone wall. Under the water, where the lava pool was, the lava solidified into a piece of smooth black rock, dotted with craters like the surface of the moon. The giant creature rolled around in the lake in excitement, screeching cheerfully. The turtle died just like that? Han Sen could not believe that a super creature was killed so easily. It was unlikely.
Han Sen decided.
The lava was liquid, so there must be a source of heat under the pool to keep it that way. Since the source of heat was not put out, it was impossible for the lava to solidify entirely. This creature is so devious to think of such a strategy. I wonder what's its grudge against the turtle? Said Jian Mingli, walking over and joining Han Sen. When Sun Minghua was about to say something, they suddenly heard rocks broken. The fresh rock ground started to crack. The giant creature was also alarmed by the sound, and straightened its back like a cobra in attack mode, staring at the broken basalt vigilantly. Boom! The basalt suddenly burst. A huge black turtle rushed out from underneath with splashing lava, like a returning demon. The moment the turtle came out, it screamed at the giant creature and threw itself at the creature with its head hidden inside the shell. The creature twisted its huge body and dodged the turtle. However, the turtle reached out its head and bit the creature in the air. The creature screeched and curled its body around the turtle, biting at the turtle's neck with its crocodile-like mouth. The two creatures were at each other's throat, rolling around in the lake, breaking rocks as they went. The group were dumbstruck by the monster's fight and felt like watching a movie. Han Sen was secretly exhilarated. Since the creature was able to match the turtle, it was very likely also a super creature. If that was the case, maybe he could get really lucky. As Han Sen was imagining killing two super creatures at once, gobbling on their life essence and becoming a super aristocrat, he very soon realized that his dream was unlikely to be realized. The two creatures managed to knock the basalt ground open. Lava erupted from the gaps and met more water. Gray smoke once again filled the space. Roaring and rolling, the creatures continued their battle, shaking the entire underground cave. Since the scorching gray smoke was almost fatal, Jin Raiji, Jin Mingli, and Sun Minghua were forced to step back. However, Han Sen stayed still. This might be his best chance to kill a super creature. If he retreated at this point, he was not sure if he could pick up the life essence, and he definitely would not be able to gain any beast soul. Han Sen yearned for a super beast soul even more than life essence. If he could obtain a powerful super beast soul, maybe he would be able to kill a super creature on his own, instead of hiding and sneaking around like this. Han Sen, let's go. It's too dangerous over there, Jin Raiji shouted at Han Sen. You go first. I will stay a bit longer, Han Sen gritted his teeth and said, initiating Jade Skin at the same time. With the protection from both the Sacred Blood Phantom Ant Armor and Jade Skin, Han Sen was able to stay put and watch the two creatures fighting. Although his sight was blurred by the gray smoke, he did not dare to approach the creatures and had to wait for a chance. Roars and shrieks rang, lava and water clashed, and gray smoke rose. Han Sen could occasionally catch a glimpse of the two creatures. Fairy Queen. Han Sen could not tell what was happening, and it was becoming worse. He quickly took back his phantom ant armor and shapeshifted into Fairy Queen. His hair became blonde and his armor red. Using the strong eyesight of the Fairy Queen, he continued to watch the fight. The Fairy Queen was indeed effective. Han Sen saw that the creature had lost a huge piece of meat in the back of its head. Its bones bared and its blood continued flowing. From a crack in its bones, Han Sen could vaguely see its brain. If I could stab my spear in this crack, I would have a big chance to kill it directly. Han Sen took out the spinning spear from his backpack. Of course, he did not want to go down just like this. He would not be the match to either the turtle or this creature. With one blow from either of them, his body would be destroyed. Han Sen took out the spear to use it like an arrow. Han Sen also summoned the horn bow and used heresy mantra and overload. Incredible strength filled his body, his muscles became as tough as iron, and his veins stood out all over. Han Sen fixed his golden eyes upon the two creatures rolling around in the smoke, lava, water, and rocks. He pulled the horn bow to the fullest. The spear was too thick and long as an arrow. It was not an easy shot. However, Han Sen had no other options. If he used the mutant black stinger arrow, it will not be enough to kill such a creature. Wait, I must wait for the perfect opportunity. Han Sen stared at the creatures through the smoke. Although he was able to see the crack in its skull twice, Han Sen did not shoot his spinning spear. The spinning spear was not a beast soul arrow and could not be taken back once it was shot. He only had this one opportunity and had to choose the right moment to kill the creature with one strike. Otherwise, he would lose this only chance. Han Sen's eyes were as calm as ice. Although that creature was severely injured, it was still able to fight the turtle. The turtle had the same thought as Han Senator. It also tried to bite the injury in the back of the creature's head, but the creature did not give it any chance. What is he trying to do? Sun Minghua could vaguely see that Han Sen was still standing on the cliff. Jin Raiji and Jin Mingli smiled bitterly. They had no idea what Han Sen was trying to do. Standing afar, they were already sweating like pigs from the unbearable heat. However, Han Sen stood still on the cliff like a tower in the gray smoke. Jin Raiji and Jin Mingli felt they had already lost to Han Sen in perseverance. Is he trying to kill the two creatures? Jin Mingli suddenly said. Is that even possible? Jin Raiji paused and replied. Killing a creature like that did not seem humanly possible. If it were anyone else, Jin Raiji would say it was impossible without question. Judging by how fiercely the creatures fought, It was easy to tell that killing them was beyond the skills of any human. However, it was Han Sen who was standing there, which made Jinraiji feel it was possible. Han Sen was someone Jinraiji could not understand. Jinraiji had seen a lot of people in Glory Shelter. However, he had never met anyone like Han. Senator Han Sen's ability was too extraordinary for an unevolved person. Since it is him, maybe there is a chance? Jinraiji said with a wry smile. Sun Minghua said with worries, "It seems too risky. We should tell him to come back." When the two creatures were almost dying, he could then go snatch the meat. "I'm afraid his goal is more than the meat, but also the beast souls," Jinraiji said, shaking his head. All of a sudden, they heard a blood-curdling cry. Right now, a cold light flashed in Han Sen's golden eyes. The spinning spear left the bow with a strong force, flying toward the screeching creature. Whoosh! The spear reached the back of the creature's head in the blink of an eye.
Yang!
The spear head was stuck in the crack of its bones and did not make it through. The bones were so stiff that the spear failed to break it. However, the spinning force did not end. Like a drill head, the spear continued to dig into the bones, making sparks and smoke. Go deeper.
Han Sen roared inwardly.
This is the only chance he got. Crack. It seemed that heaven was listening to Han's senator. The cracks in the creature's skull was broken further by the spinning spear. With a pop, the entire spear entered the skull from the crack. Roar. With another painful cry, the crocodile-like head of the creature raised up for a few seconds and suddenly collapsed, shaking the entire cave. Larva of super creature Aqua Reaper killed. Beast soul of super creature Aqua Reaper gained. Life essence available. Consume its life essence to gain 0 to 10 super geno points randomly. Meat inedible. The voice Han Sen heard made him jump. A super beast soul. I finally gained a super beast soul. Shortly, Han Sen became calm again. It was not yet time to celebrate. The turtle was still there. Han Sen now understood that the Aqua Reaper was still a larva. The reason why it could fight the turtle was likely that the turtle had just laid its eggs in the lava and was still weak. Even so, the turtle was too strong for Han Sen to kill. At least before he had gained a strong weapon, there was no way he could hurt the turtle. After the Aqua Reaper was shot dead, the turtle threw a gaze at where Han Sen was, sending a chill down his spine. However, the turtle merely looked at him, and then left the cave from the opening on the stone wall made by the Aqua Reaper. Han Sen was overjoyed. If the turtle did not leave, he did not even dare to go down and collect the life essence. Before Han Sen went down, he saw that the body of the Aqua Reaper gradually dissolved and disappeared in the thin air. Thump! A football-sized purple crystal fell into the lake along with the spinning spear. Han Sen did not dare to hesitate anymore and quickly jumped from the cliff, summoned his sacred blood wings in the air, dived into the lake and dredged up the life essence and the spear. Licking at the purple crystal, Han Sen heard the voice he had missed so much. Life essence of super creature Aqua Reaper consumed. No super geno point gained. The voice cheered Han Sen up. He continued to look at the life essence of the Aqua Reaper, which became purple liquid in his mouth. As he swallowed the liquid, the coolness filled his body, nurturing every body cell. After licking for a while, Han Sen eventually heard the voice telling him he had gained 1 super geno point. Fortunately, the life essence of Aqua Reaper was much smaller than that of the Golden Growler. If it was bigger, Han Sen would not be able to finish eating it on the spot. Such a giant Aqua Reaper turned out to be a larva. If it was in the adult form, it would not be smaller than the Golden Growler. Maybe it was because the life essence was from a larva. Han Sen had gained 7 super geno points from eating the entire crystal, which was less than what he used to get. However, Han Sen was satisfied already. Originally, he thought it would take him a while longer before he could kill a super creature, but he just managed to kill one by chance and gained 7 super geno points and a super beast soul. What a surprise! Looking at his super geno point count, which was now 26, Han Sen was very pleased. Sen, are you okay? Jinraiji asked from the cliff. Jinraiji, Jin Mingli, and Sun Minghua were all looking down from the cliff and became excited when they saw Han Sen.
I'm fine.
The two creatures both left. Let's follow this opening to go out. I see light on the other side. This should be an exit, said Han Sen, pointing at broken stone wall. After the three of them flew down with wings, they saw a valley from the opening. Going out of the cave and climbing up the valley, the group discovered that they were still in Copper Mountains. Returning to Glory Shelter, Han Sen heard someone had seen the turtle crawling back into the ocean. Although it was a shame, Han Sen was not too disappointed because he had gained a lot from the Aqua Reaper. Type of Super Beast Soul of Aqua Reaper, Parasite. Han Sen studied the beast soul of the Aqua Reaper in the shelter and found that it was something he had never seen before, a parasite beast soul. Like the beast soul of the Beetle Knight, it could not be summoned, and Han Sen had no idea how to use it. However, normally speaking, a rare beast soul was a strong beast soul. If Han Sen had high hopes for this beast soul and wished to find out more about it after he had access to the Skynet, there was no need for him to stay in Glory Shelter any longer. So when Sun Minghua decided to go to Steel Armor Shelter, Han Sen followed them back. On the way, Han Sen continued to think about the lava pool. Maybe the turtle had laid its eggs there, and it would be wonderful if he could fish those out. Because Dark Swamp was too dangerous, Jin Raiji did not choose to go via that route, but picked a longer and safer path. Han Sen was in no hurry. He had Heresy Mantra, Overload, Panorama, and kiting skills to practice on the way. When they finally reached Steel Armor Shelter, it was more than a month later. After returning to his room in Steel Armor Shelter, Han Sen checked on the cloud beast he was feeding. Its body was becoming more and more transparent, and its progress was more or less what Han Sen estimated. The black crystal should be able to make a super creature in about a year. What is this black crystal? It could even make super creatures. It seems that it's not getting any smaller either. What a wonder! Han Sen again felt lucky that he had gained this treasure. It was indeed priceless. No one would believe him even if he told someone. After resting for 2 days in Blackhawk, Han Sen did not immediately go on Gladiator. He had read more news from different shelters, trying to find the traces of a super creature again. Han Sen had found a lot of leads, but they were all too far from Steel Armor Shelter, and it would not be easy for him to travel to those places in time. During Han Sen's recess, Gambler told him via comlink that Yang Zikuin wanted to meet him to discuss a deal. Yang Zikuin did not tell Gambler the specifics of the deal and wanted to talk to Han Sen alone. Yang Zikuin did not ask Han Sen to meet in God's Sanctuary, but managed to get Han Sen out of Blackhawk and took him to a private club. Han Sen had little faith in the so-called closed-door military training at this point. Those with means could always open the doors. Mister, you did not go through all this trouble just to drink with me, right? Sitting on the couch, Han Sen asked Yang Zikuin, who was sitting opposite him. Brother, today I asked you to come both to learn boomerang skills from you, and to ask for a favor. Yang Zikuin was very polite to Han Senator since Han Sen beat him at boomerang. Yang Zikuin had thought of Han Sen as a master. Yang Zikuin had spent a lot of time practicing butterfly boomerang recently, but the effect was not ideal. He had asked a lot of masters to gain a bit progress. However, if he wanted to reach Han Sen's level, it would take him years of hard work. Business first. You can learn boomerang from me anytime. I have a fair rate for tutoring. Han Sen smiled and said. Yang Zikuin gave him a thumbs up and said, Great. I love how direct you are. I'll be straightforward with you then. I've asked you to come today because I need some Sacred Blood Beast Souls and wonder if I can purchase some in Steel Armor Shelter. Sacred Blood Beast Souls are rare. Too many people need them, yet too few want to sell. Even if someone was to evolve and sell part of their Sacred Blood Beast Souls, those Beast Souls would most likely be reserved in advance. You should know that very well, Han Sen pondered and said. When Qin Xian evolved, she only kept 2 Sacred Blood Beast Souls with her to enter Second God's Sanctuary. Her other Beast Souls were reserved long before they went to an auction. Those who had purchased her Sacred Blood Beast Souls were probably extremely wealthy people like Yang Zikuin, Yuan, and Qing. After they got their hands on the Sacred Blood Beast Souls, it was highly unlikely that they would sell them again. These people normally chose to bring all the Sacred Blood Beast Souls with them when they became evolvers. Although the Sacred Blood Beast Souls from First God's Sanctuary would not be considered strong in Second God's Sanctuary, in the early stage, they could still be helpful. That was one of the reasons why the Sacred Blood Beast Souls were so rare in First God's Sanctuary. If it is easy, I will not need to ask for your help, brother. Yang Zikuan turned on the holographic video, and the image of a person appeared. The clip was pre-recorded. That person summoned his beast souls one by one and introduced them. After showing the clip, Yang Zikuan showed Han Sen and another clip that was similar to the first one. Brother, I want to trade with you for sacred blood beast souls. I can offer you beast souls or warframes. This private club is specialized in beast soul dealing. You can have a look at the clips. If you have a certain beast soul in mind, I can trade with you. Most people here are not from Steel Armor Shelter, said Yang Zikuan. Han Sen's eyes lit up. He asked, does this private club also deal beast souls from Second God Sanctuary? Yang Zikuan was puzzled and explained to Han Sen that is possible. But most deals are conducted in the same phase. It would be harder to exchange across different phases. If I were to exchange Sacred Blood Beast Souls in the first God Sanctuary for Sacred Blood Beast Souls in the second, what would that be like?
Han Sen asked.
His family was doing well financially, but he had hoped to gain some Sacred Blood Beast Souls for his mother to guarantee her safety in Second God Sanctuary. Second God Sanctuary was not like the first. It was extremely risky, and even the shelters were not 100% safe. Creatures would attack shelters in large groups in Second God Sanctuary, which was different from the first. If you wanted to trade, that's okay. But it depends on what kind of beast souls you have. Normally speaking, 3 Sacred Blood Beast Souls from First God Sanctuary could be used to trade for 1 Sacred Blood Beast Soul in the second. After all, it is much more difficult to gain a Sacred Blood Beast Soul in Second God Sanctuary, explained Yang Zikuan briefly. Han Sen pondered for a while and said to Yang Zikuan, I do have some Sacred Blood Beast Souls on hand, but I am not interested in anything else but the Sacred Blood Beast Souls in Second God Sanctuary. And the trade must be conducted in Sapphire Shelter of Second God Sanctuary. Yang Zikuan looked at Han Sen and asked, Brother, do you have any requirement for the types of beast souls you want? I would prefer beast soul armor, followed by beast soul mount and beast soul wings. Han Sen wanted to get some beast souls that could keep his mother safe. When he evolved and entered Second God Sanctuary, it would be easy for him to get beast souls and meat for his mother. The most important thing was to keep his mother alive. Although Luo Sulan was located in a large human shelter, and all she did was killing ordinary creatures and primitive creatures at most, it was hard to say what would happen in Second God Sanctuary. Many human shelters be destroyed overnight. Give me a minute. Yang Zikuan checked his comlink and dialed a number. A man of about 60 years old appeared in the holographic image. Young Master. The man bowed to Yang Zikuan. Mr. Su, could you check for me how many Sacred Blood Beast Souls we could use in Sapphire Shelter of Second God Sanctuary?
Asked Yang Zikuan.
One moment, young master. I will report to you when I have the information. Yang Zikuan turned off his comlink and said to Han Sen with a smile, Brother, let's see if anything interests you. If there is something you like, then we will continue our discussion. Han Sen nodded and admired Yang Zikuan's masterful manner. Indeed, Yang Zikuan was the grandson of a demigod. Although he was still young, he treated everyone gracefully. Shortly, Mr. Su knocked on the door in person and showed a video clip to Yang Zikuan, while explaining, currently, we have 3 Sacred Blood Beast Souls that we can use in Sapphire Shelter. One is... After he had explained everything, Mr. Su stepped back and waited for Yang Zikuan to speak. Brother, what do you think?
Yang Zikuan asked Han Sen.
Mr. Su looked at Han Sen in surprise. He knew very well Yang Zikuan's character and thought Han Sen must be someone important so that Yang Zikuan will treat him this way. I am very interested in the Sacred Blood Armor and Sacred Blood Mount. I have 3 Sacred Blood Beast Souls that I want to use to exchange for those 2. Do you think that's doable? Han Sen pondered and asked.